I want to question why India has power to give us justice. Why there is a situation they can create and then they can pretend to be giving us the justice. We want to create a system where this problem doesn't exist. Nobody can commit our genocide, and we don't have to ask for justice again. We are doing the charitable work so much for the other communities. It's not wrong, but when you don't have things to survive, when you don't have basic structures to provide to your own people, there is no point doing charity, because now your charity is just pleasing other people, just getting validation from them that Sikhs are so good. We don't need validation. Even if they'll say Sikhs are evil, Sikhs are not good people, and you have proper Raj, you don't care about them. Now you care about them, now we care about them, because we don't have any structure. And the weak people who are mentally and physically weak, they don't have any power, they always seek validation from other people. The question is, if India claims to be a democracy, if India claims to be a democratic nation, if India claims to be a diverse nation, how they are creating this stigma around Khalistan, and how media is talking about Khalistan in a negative way. As a Sikh in diaspora, you can support Palestine's struggle without any guilt or without any understanding of what Palestinians are doing. If you can support Kashmir's struggle, if you can support other struggles, why there is a guilt when it comes to Khalistan, the idea of Sikh sovereignty? It shouldn't be there. We should celebrate. We should even, it's a very sacred idea. We should celebrate. We should respect the people who are leading the struggle.
Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Today we are joined by Amritpal Singh, lead organizer of the organization Waris Punjab, a group formed by the late Sidhu. Amritpal Singh's emergence has not been a new phenomenon for those who have been discussing and engaging with Sikh political issues. Over the past couple of years, Amritpal Singh has published his views on social media and has continuously engaged with Sikh scholars around the world. This month, Amritpal Singh was formally appointed the head of Waris Punjab and has begun mobilizing around the issues of Punjab's drug epidemic, sovereignty, and displacement. Today, we are joined by students from across the globe, and we will be having a discussion on the issues facing Punjab and the diaspora. Because of our time constraints, let us jump right into the questions. So, Amritpal Singh ji, in the last 2 decades, hundreds of thousands of Punjabis have left Punjab and have migrated to the West. Despite these glaring problems, the hyper-nationalist Indian media say you are leading the youth onto the wrong track. What do you say to them?
So first of all, when you ask me why youth leaving from Punjab and going to Western countries, it's not a natural phenomenon. No community leaves like this, and it's a mass, we can say mass migration. It doesn't happen for no reason. So when there is a genocide, it's a post-genocide phenomenon. So when there is a genocide and no justice, no reconciliation, what happened? Youth will not feel safe, and subconsciously they will feel like slaves here. So if we want to address this issue, it's a very I think it's a big topic. So if we need to address this issue, we have to understand what happened in Punjab before we started. Youth started leaving Punjab, and they don't want to live in Punjab. There is no sense of security. There is no sense of belonging here. So that's what we need to address. After genocide, many communities left their own homelands, and then they went to another country to find peace. But this phenomenon never ends here, because once you are not finding peace in your own home country, homeland, you will not be able to find anything in other countries. So Western world is already very depressed, and we can say there are so many problems. Materialism is on the peak. So what we have to do with youth, we have to make them understand this is our land. We have to fight for rights. We can't leave the battle place, and we can't run away from here. So that's what I think about it.
Thank you. I'm going to ask Bhai Harjot Singh, who's a student at the University of California, Berkeley, and a student of Sikh political history and in South Asia, to ask a question to you.
Ji, thank you for the opportunity. Bhai Amritpal Singh ji, what are the major roadblocks to the Panth's prosperity today, and what sort of plan can we deliberate upon and employ to remove the obstacles to the Panth's prosperity and the Panth's unity today?
See, we have to let this guilt go away, that what we did, the struggle we did in the past and we are doing right now, it's not a taboo subject. Every community has right of sovereignty. Every community has right to talk about freedom, justice, and their rights in basic language. So what happened with us? We when Indian state attacked us on our faith, on our physically, mentally, they tortured us physically and mentally. We developed this guilt inside us. So this guilt is never leaving us. When I talk to young generation, the basic question is, when state commits some violence, they think they are responsible because they are kind of provoking the state. But initially, I think in the last week, there are 2 incidents of Bedouin. Now, 2 incidents of Bedouin is to provoke Sikhs. So they will do something. So who is provoking? It's not Sikhs who are provoking. We are just reacting to things. We're not doing any action. We're just doing the reaction. And that's our right. That's right for any community in the world. If justice system fails, if law of land fails to deliver justice, we have to take things in our hand to protect our faith, our dignity, and our culture. So in future, my suggestion and my work would be to, ask youth and, make them this guilt go away, to work on this thing that this is not our fault. If somebody has power to commit a genocide against us, if somebody has willingness to commit a genocide against us, they will find any way to do it. So it's not about us, what we're going to do and how they're going to react. It's not about our reaction. It's about their action and our reaction. So we don't need to take any guilt out of it. And in future, we will be working more on de-addicting youth from drugs. And the de-addiction centers currently working in Punjab are basically working on the Western idea that this is just physical issue. What happens, body drug get into your body and it just make a place there and it has to leave with the medicines also. But the problem here is youth has no inspiration whatsoever. They leave drugs in centers, they come out, the society is same. Society is not changing. They have same sangat, they have same friend circles, they have same work. So what they do, they go into the same things again and again. So what we will create an environment, a culture, a space where where the youth, young guys, girls, they'll have opportunity to connect to faith. Because without faith, we can't go anywhere. So that's what our plans are for future.
And secondly, as you touched yourself on how Punjab and the Panth is being stifled on every avenue possible, we just want to know a question in regards to the farmers' protests, specifically the mobilization of Punjabi farmers and Sikh farmers in particular, in opposition to the neoliberal farm reforms introduced by the Modi administration in 2020, was unprecedented in South Asian history, if not global history. So, Bhai Amritpal Singh ji, what do you think was the strategy that led us to see the protest success, and how can it be replicated for ongoing or future morchas of the Panth?
See, this was not just a reaction to the 3 farm laws. It was just building up, piling up situation for Sikhs, and it just busted. There is a lava under the ground. You don't know until it's burst and it does what it does. So now the issue is that for understanding farmer protest, we have to understand the Sikh suffering from 150 years, what they are feeling and how they are perceiving things in this state, and this state, how the state is treating Sikhs. So when youth, they left from Punjab, went to Delhi, the kind of energy they had, it's not just about 3 farm laws. And the slogans they were using, they were talking about sovereignty, they were talking about justice, they were talking about revenge. It doesn't come from just 3 farm laws. We, as a Sikh community, we actually proven ourselves that we can fight any kind of morcha and we can win it. But the failure of the leadership in Delhi morcha, we can't deny that if the leaders were good, if they had played their role, how a leader should be doing it, we would be we would have achieved so much than what we did, because we made state to cancel the 3 farm laws, but we didn't achieve anything. The 3 farm laws were not there before. So it didn't change anything for farmers. It didn't change anything for Punjab. So we actually, turned away a problem that was coming to us. We didn't achieve anything out of it. So with the kind of crowd, with the kind of, energy, with the kind of people gathering together and sitting there for a year, I think the federal state laws and other things must have been discussed there, but leaders didn't allow any youth, young leadership to come on stage and talk about things, talk about Sikh suffering, talk about justice. So in that case, I'll see it's collectively it's a failure, but we achieved energy and we saw that what we have, we have the potential to do anything. So in the future, we know what we can do and what we can't do.
Thank you so much for that answer. I was going to move on to a different topic, in the topic of Khalistan. This seems to be a central point of Waris Punjab's mission. Given sort of the changing demographics in Punjab, the Indian state has created a lot of stigma around openly discussing the subject of Sikh independence. Obviously, the idea of Sikh statehood is legitimate, but how do you plan to approach the cynical attitude towards people about Khalistan on the ground in Punjab?
See, there is when there is extreme violence about something, it generates a taboo about some words, especially for Khalistan. People don't talk openly about Khalistan because there is a fear psychosis in this place where we are, working now. Everybody wants Khalistan, but they don't openly talk about it. There is no clear concept what they want to say, because it's not necessary to everybody to understand what Khalistan is. It's necessary to everybody to understand what freedom is. How we gonna, come out of slavery? How are we gonna break this cage? So the stigma about Khalistan is, it's created by state and media and other left liberal scholars. The irony is when we talk about, they will ask us what kind of government will form in Khalistan, what kind of system will it be, democratic system or will it be dictatorship or anarchy or anything. They never ask these things from Palestine. They support Palestine struggle, no matter what. There is an armed struggle going on. There is a narrative war on the world. Left is leading that war. And they didn't ask anywhere if they will create Islamic State in Palestine. So what will be the future for other minorities? The same thing is happening in Kashmir. The Indian left liberal, they never ask about Kashmir, that what kind of system you want to create in the Kashmir when you get the freedom. They support Kashmir freedom. But when it comes to Khalistan and Sikh freedom, they will deliberately put such questions in front of us. And we can't give any roadmap of Khalistan because that's not possible. It's about negotiation. It's about the power you have. And it's about the situation you are in. So you can get more than you want, you can get less than you want. But freedom will never be compromised, because if you will start having this stigma around Khalistan word, Indian constitution says you can talk about self-determination. Supreme Court mandate, Supreme Court of India, the higher authority of India, they said peacefully you can preach about Khalistan, you can have seminars, you can talk about Khalistan, you can have literature and you can distribute the literature about Khalistan. So the question is, if India claims to be a democracy, if India claims to be a democratic nation, if India claims to be a diverse nation, how they are creating this stigma around Khalistan, and how media is talking about Khalistan in a negative way when it's just a discussion. There is no armed struggle going on. It's just a normal discussion. If you will suppress the very thought of freedom and Khalistan, it will go in a very other direction where state is asking us to go. So what we want to peacefully talk about it, let people understand why freedom is our basic necessity. It's just like water is like oxygen. We need freedom for everything. So when we will, whenever we go, we talk about sovereignty. The idea of sovereignty should never be criminalized, not for us, not for any other community, be it Hindus in Pakistan or anywhere in the world. The idea of sovereignty is a very sacred idea. So when somebody criminalized it, the idea of sovereignty, it's just you can't struggle. When your own people are thinking that the idea of sovereignty is kind of crime, so they will start pulling your legs. So when I talk about freedom, when I talk about justice, I want to create a system where these, for example, if imagine India is giving us justice. India state is giving us justice. Majority is ready to give us justice. That's not the issue. Justice is not the issue. I want to question why India has power to give us justice. Why there is a situation they can create and then they can pretend to be giving us the justice. We want to create a system where there is this problem doesn't exist. Nobody can commit our genocide, and we don't have to ask for justice again and again. So we want to create a system. So creating a system and creating an inspiration where your people, your faith, your community, your beliefs will be safe forever. The future-proof idea. It's not a crime. It's every community in the world should celebrate it. In Western democracies, when somebody says, "Okay, we want a separate country," do you hear people killing each other? No, they don't. So when the idea of democracy is coming from Europe, they are celebrating it. India should also celebrate it. Otherwise, India should declare that they are not democracy. They are something else. So we will see what we can do about the freedom.
Just to follow up on that question, what do you think when you see these headlines from the Indian media, the national English media about the Punjab ch mahol kharab ho raha? You hear that a lot from the regional media as well as national media. How do you react to those headlines when especially when they're so inaccurate, given the current situation in Punjab, the drug epidemic, the migration happening out of Punjab? There seems to be an ignorance around those issues, but they claim that you are turning the youth into a different direction. So how do you react to those sort of headlines?
See, the media in India is in a condition where they are not media. They are actually tools of state to create fear among people. They will create fear among Hindu majority that Amritpal is doing something that will endanger Hindus in Punjab. That's exactly opposite to what the ground reality is. They did that in 1984. Our data shows that from 1981 to 1984, there were only 452 murders in Punjab. Most of them were Sikhs who got killed. In the same period in UP, there was 6,000 or 7,000 murders. But they sent military to Punjab because media created some sort of narrative that Punjab is very unsafe. If we don't send military there, if we don't kill Sant Gyani Jarnail Singh or arrest him, the Punjab will never be peaceful. So the media has power. We heard about Rwanda radio, how they led to a genocide with a false propaganda. So media is playing the duty of what Indian state wants. They want to suppress the voice of Sikhs. They want to criminalize the idea of our sovereignty or even our rights. In basic language, if we say we don't want these, factories in Punjab, which are polluting our land, and it's, making Punjab a cancer bed. There are so many people, it's a generational disease. So many people are dying. They'll also criminalize that idea that Amritpal doesn't want factories in Punjab. I said, we don't want such factories in Punjab. We don't want such industry in Punjab. We want agri-based industry because we are agricultural land. We don't want textile industry here because textile industry are making so much pollution, so much disposed material that and government is not regulating. They're just putting bores in land, holes in land, and dropping waste material, toxic material. It's very close to the nuclear waste, and they're putting everything in the ground. And then this water, toxic water, is coming out of submersible pumps in other homes. So now the situation is there. And when we talk about to shut the factory down, these people are criminalizing that we are, disturbing the peace of Punjab. So there is a two-way. It's a silent genocide going on. It's not we are not dying. Our people are dying every day with drugs, with the, the kind of factories they're running, with toxic water. They have cancers, accidents. They're dying every day in large numbers. But when I said, if we are already dying, then why don't we fight for the rights? Death is you can't just make it go away and it will never come again. So I just said this thing and they will say you are ruining the peace, and I don't see any peace. It's the graveyard, peace of the graveyard. There is a peace in graveyard, but there's a peace because there is nobody alive. So they want such peace in Punjab that we don't speak for rights, we don't talk about it, and the media will make a false propaganda. But now we have other channels like social media. So it's diaspora 6 should also on international level, we need to raise our voice that we are not disturbing the peace. There is no peace in Punjab. We are just fixing the problems. So if you don't let us fix the problem and you will blame that we are disturbing the peace, and eventually it will, go into the wrong direction. We have to react to the action. If somebody is come for us, we can't just sit and hold and let them kill us or let them commit another genocide against us.
Thank you for that. I'm going to turn it over to Simritkar, who has a question. She's a student at California State University, Sacramento.
By Amritpal Singh, for our last question, we want to ask you, what is the role of women in the Sangharsh? How can Sikh women be a part of your movement overall?
See, I don't see women and men as a separate entity when it comes to Sangharsh, because we need to support each other to do anything. Like if a person is doing a Sangharsh and his family is not supportive, it's very hard for that person to do anything. So for the woman, it's very important that what we, like in Palestine, women come to road and they protest in the favor of community. They and when I talk about Amrit and giving our seats to Guru Sahib, I also say that woman must be religious. If a man is not religious, there is a slight chances that he is ruining his life. But if woman is not religious, the kids, the future of the Panth will not be safe. So when I talk about women, I say it's a 50-50 role. It's not 70-30, it's not 60-40. If we are not struggling together, and if we are fighting with each other, like on the issues of family, I know there are issues. There are discrimination against women. I am not denying anything. But the problem is we don't have any system. Until we create a system of Sikhi, these things will not go away. These are the symptom of the problem that's called slavery. And when we have a Raj, we already have a system in Sikhi where there is no discrimination. There is no gender, issue. Like, for example, when I gave the example that when they gave name Kaur and Singh, they gave it because women had to choose either father's name or the husband's name after marriage. So Guru Sahib said, no, woman is not an entity to somebody. There is not a property to somebody. So they have a separate name. They will keep it. These kind of freedom. But now when you see the mental slavery is reached to the point where women deliberately change their surname after marriage. Nobody's asking them to do it. So that's a sign of mental slavery. We need to understand the role of woman is as much, if not more, but as much as important, the role of men. When I go to the places in Punjab, I see less women in the crowd who are interested in politics. I request to them, the politics is not like, I know it's a dirty game, religion, you don't want to get involved into it. But if you love Sikhi and if you want to create a structure where there will be no discrimination, if you want to show the world that how beautiful our structure is, then we have to create an established system. Otherwise, for women, don't see that man is stopping you or women are stopping you. Just make your space for Panth. You're not doing it for anybody. You're doing it for Guru. So Guru gave everybody the equal right to love him, to celebrate his Sikhi. So that's why for women and men in the Panth, there's an equal space and be equal.
And by Amritpal Singh ji, lastly, on concluding this discussion, to the more than 25 million Sikhs sitting in Punjab, South Asia, and abroad in the global diaspora, what is the message of Amritpal Singh, and what does he want to convey?
I just want to say, when we talk about freedom, it's not about disturbing the peace. There is no peace in first place to disturb. So we are going through a genocide, and most of the time when communities are going through genocide, they don't understand, they don't even recognize it, because the forms of genocide are very changed. State is not using direct violence. They are using direct violence on very occasionally. But most of the time they have made a system, the policies where your children will not be Sikhs. Even if you try harder, without a system, without a proper structure, your children will not be able to celebrate Sikhi. Even if you try, the Sikhs went to West, they are facing the same problem. The Western ideology is taking over. And our third generation is not even a Sikh. They are not talking Punjabi. They don't understand Punjabi. If you don't understand Punjabi, you'll not be able to read Gurmukhi. You're not able to read Gurmukhi. You'll not be able to connect to Guru through Bani. So this is the form of genocide where a generation is so disconnected to another generation that you can't pass on your struggle, you can't pass on your faith to another generation. So what we have to do as a collective, as a community, we need to make this collective consciousness that, okay, our people are doing this, and we have to be self-centered for a point right now. We are doing the charitable work so much for the other communities. It's not wrong. But when you don't have things to survive, when you don't have basic structures to provide to your own people, there is no point doing charity, because now your charity is just pleasing other people, just getting validation from them that Sikhs are so good. We don't need validation. Even if they'll say Sikhs are evil, Sikhs are not good people, and you have proper Raj, you don't care about them. Now you care about them. Now we care about them because we don't have any structure. And the weak people who are mentally and physically weak, they don't have any power. They always seek validation from other people. So when you'll be powerful enough, you'll not care about what they're talking about you. You'll only care about what Guru wants us to be, and we will work on that. So as a collective community, we need to first be guilt-free about what we are doing. We don't need any certificate from Western ideologies, scholars, or anybody, because these people will never be able to understand the definition of Guru. They will compare it to the Pegambars and other Devtas, and we have a different relationship with Guru. We can't even explain it to them, because when you don't understand love on that point, on that level, you can't. It's unexplainable. So as a community, we need to center our struggle to the sovereignty, idea of sovereignty, because its sovereignty is not about creating another nation state or state. It's all about, if every community has right, they have protect the faith. Why don't Sikhs have the same right? If this idea of state is not so pure, I can understand the idea of state is not so pure. It will not be that pure that there will be no problems. But the thing is, why only Sikhs should suffer? We don't have any moral obligation to create a perfect structure and give it to the world. We don't have basic rights. So when we don't have basic rights, we have no moral responsibility to show people that how good we are. So as a community, even if you don't agree to me, even if I don't agree to you, we have to agree to one point, that Sikhs are not free people. We are not free. If we are free, we shouldn't be dying in drug genocides, dying with the state violence, and migrating from here to other countries for no obvious reasons. It's not an economical issue. The economical issue is also the symptom of slavery. So when they are employing other people to Punjab, they are bringing people from other states to Punjab, and they don't have living. They are disturbing the economical structure of Punjab. We can't compete because we have a living standard, we have a family, we have a house, we have rents to pay, we have so many things. So what they did, they disturbed the economical structure. They forced the youth. They killed youth in a drug genocide, and they forced them to leave the Punjab. So now they're replacing the Punjabis, the Sikhs, with another communities. So that's a cultural genocide. That's a cultural assimilation with demographic change. So as a community, we need to be together, unite on one idea. That the idea is Sikhs must be free. No community has to bear such violence. And there is no justification. I don't see any point when you can, as a Sikh in diaspora, you can support Palestine struggle without any guilt or without any understanding of what Palestinians are doing. If you can support Kashmir struggle, if you can support other struggle, if you can support BLM, Black Lives Matter, if you can support any movement that's driven by left, why there is a guilt when it comes to Khalistan, the idea of Sikh sovereignty? It shouldn't be there. We should celebrate. We should even, it's a very sacred idea. We should celebrate and we should respect the people who are leading the struggle. And we shouldn't pulling their legs.
Thank you so much to Bhai Amritpal Singh. We wish you the success of your organization. We wish the safety of you and your organization. So thank you all for joining us. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ